Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
We are back, yet another episode, working down the top 100. And while you're listening to this, we are actually on a family vacation. Look at us playing ahead.
Don't get used to it.
No, it's unlikely to happen. And also, we're recording this like late at night when I'm distracted by the Thursday night football game, and I'm already tired. So who knows what nonsense is gonna come out tonight. So without further ado, let's talk about some news, because I'm actually doing news. Look at me. It's like I'm actually participating. And really, it's not like I did my job. It's that Mike was out there doing his job, and then I followed up. But he has some great games picked out, stuff that I am really interested in. And the first one is a game called Tofu Shifu. And this is on Kickstarter. And this is a game about making tofu. Imagine that. Like you inherit, I think it's your grandfather's tofu shop. Your grandfather's tofu restaurant. And so you're going to learn to master the art of tofu cuisine. And this is just really, really cute Chinese art. I mean, it's stinking adorable. So you're doing worker placement, you've got hand building, you've got resource conversion, because you're going to do all the things that you need to run your own tofu restaurant. So you're upgrading your restaurant. You're going to like hire workers and develop your tofu recipes and serve customers, and then like earn privilege tiles, which allows you, to get points, which is how you win. Imagine that. So it's really cute. You've got your little Shifu, which is your like master that's going to be placed in the town. You've got like objectives. There's these really adorable little bits. Oh my gosh. Because like you take your master and you go and you get the hat of whatever you are going to be doing that round. So you might need the chef hat or the waiter hat or the cashier hat or the master hat. So the hat tokens are really cute. There's so much cute stuff in this. Oh my gosh. I love the bits on this. I love the theme of like completing objectives to run your tofu restaurant. It just seems so cute. So if you like tofu, like I do, or great Asian art, or just worker placement, fun themes, check out Tofu Shifu. When this podcast drops, there will be 5 days left on that Kickstarter. So don't wait around. And it's $30, which I think is a steal of a deal.
This is the one that you showed me before, right? With the funky little houses, the ice cream,
that's
right?
The next one.
Oh. Okay.
This is tofu.
Gotcha.
It does have cute components in this one as well.
It sounds cool, but I was thinking it was the ice cream one, and I had stuff to talk about on that. So yeah, I got nothing on this one. Okay,
so great segue to the next one that I'm going to talk about. The game Jason is referring to is called Sweetlands, and Sweetlands is actually from the creators of like Aqua Garden and Osteria. Is that the other one's name of the other one? Ostia. But in this one, you are in these like sweet lands. You're going to be the next king of this like candy land, kind of. But while this game has such a sweet little simple theme, holy Moses, there's a lot going on in this, and I don't even know that I understand it completely. I started to watch a video, and then the people on it annoyed me because, again, they only had videos to explain how to play it, and that also annoyed me. But it looks so good, and there's so many amazing components, and there's like 14 different characters that you can be, and they've got their own abilities you can use to help you become the king. There's victory points tracks. There's also like city points, because you're expanding your city. You've got industrial points, making, industrial tech. You've got like the prosperity track. So you're trying just to amass like all these points from all these different ways. The other thing is, so you're building up your like candy sweet city, basically sweet land. And you're doing that by placing these buildings. So it looks almost like a tech tree. I'm almost positive is what you're creating with, like, you've got these cheese tents, you've got cream puff like buildings, and then like these brownie factories or something. Adorable, right? There's also these like so you've got like this capital city, and you're going to have to get resources, but you also have to establish transportation through that, and building these different types of properties. You're going to get like different income as you build up these things. You've got these citizen cars that are going to help you. And then if you like get this food supply, cookie rabbits will come and live on your little tiles where your cities are. And like all those different ways have points. There's a lot that appears to be going on here. The quality of everything looks so good. A couple of the reviews were like, yeah, this is like really crunchy. There's just a lot of stuff going on, but I love that it's like a fun sweets, land of sweets kind of theme. I mean, it says right away, this is heavy strategic Euro. 1 to 4 players, it's 100 to 200 minutes.
Whoa.
Right. So it looks so light and cute, but there's a lot that appears to be going on. So I love that. For me, that's awesome. So if you like heavy Euros, if you like, this is again, very Asian influenced art. If you like the idea of cheese tents, I would check out Sweetlands. This one is also on Kickstarter, and also by the time this podcast drops, 5 days left on that. This one, because of all the stuff, and I mean, it's a lot of stuff included, it is $88. So a little bit pricey because I think it is kind of a deluxeified base version.
Well, I don't know much about this company, but that Ostia game was one that I really wanted to back. It looks so good. And that was really expensive too. So I'm not surprised. But the thing that I think is interesting about this is the theme is like cutesy. Like it seems like a little kid theme, but the game does not seem like a kid game at all.
Right.
Which I find kind of interesting. It's a different theme for a heavy Euro that takes 3 hours, which blows my mind. So I appreciate that. The bits are fantastic. And this is one that I'll be following. I'm probably not going to back because it's a little pricey, but I'll definitely be following it.
I mean, I definitely like it. For me, this is like the perfect blend. This is a game made for Katie. It's got lots of tracks and like complexity, but it's adorable and has fun bits. Like these are all the things I really love. As long as it has multiple paths to victory, I'm in, man.
No, it looks fantastic. I'm not knocking it. It's just a little much on the money front.
The milk cartons that they have on them are like research labs, which I think is really fun. And the ice cream clock towers are cool too.
Yeah, that is cool.
Okay, well, that is the last game I have on news.
All right, well, let's start talking about some games that we played because we played some games. All right, so we've been doing our top 100, you know that, and maybe some of these games that we're going to play here will show up on one of our lists eventually. So the first one we're going to talk about is a game called Yedo, and this is one we've been one that Katie's cousin's husband's been wanting to play for a while. I've taken it a few times, we just never gotten around to playing it, and we finally got to play it. So this is effectively, I don't know, the worker placement part kind of feels like Lords of Waterdeep, but it's ultimately like a contract fulfillment game where you're trying to complete these different missions that are in 4 different colors to score points and money and all that kind of thing. And the way that it works is you're going to be bidding for some stuff, and there's a round of that. Then you're going to place your workers, and then once all the workers are placed, there's this little guy that's going to move around, possibly slap you around if you're in the wrong area. And then finally, in turn order, you get to go to a spot and either activate the spot or use the worker that's in that spot to contribute to completing one of your missions. So Lords of Waterdeep-esque with a little bit more going on. Cool samurai theme. And yeah, I really like this game. It's a little mean. It's a little long, so we actually shaved some rounds off. Otherwise, we'd probably still be playing it. But aside from those two things, I enjoy everything about this game. I like the bidding. I like the way the contracts work. I like the worker placement. The little guy that moves around to block off areas while he's mean. I think it's interesting. And this is just a game that I really enjoy. So, yeah, Yedo. How do you feel about Yedo?
I thought I really liked it until we played it again, and I was like, dang, this game is mean to me, and that makes me mad. And I don't get to do what I want to do, and that's always a thing that makes me mad because I'm such a brat.
I mean, you can do what you want to do, just not in that one area.
Yeah, and it's always the area I need, and it's so restrictive. And I should embrace that more because I don't like it when it's not at all restrictive. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways.
I know, I can't, but I want it both ways. I don't. But yeah, it is fun. I think the goal cards are really fun. Like when you actually read them, like one of my goals was, oh, this guy suspects us and that could be bad. So you're going to drown him in the koi pond at the temple. And I was like, what?
It's serious. It's like kidnapping missions and there's assassinations. It's crazy. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah. So I do like it, but it is not easy.
Yeah, it is a little mean, and I do wish it was shorter. And I feel like we played 9 of the rounds, and the high score was like 26 points, which is crazy. I wish it gave more points. That would feel more satisfying too, I think.
True. I agree with that.
All right, so moving on from that one, we also played a game that is new to us. We got it at our little gaming thing that we played a couple weekends ago, Nerdapalooza, and this game is called Gold West. Thank you, Richard Diaz. So this game it's a Western gold rush theme. And what you're doing is you're basically spending resources to build these different buildings out on this map. The different locations that you build are going to be one of these 4 terrain types. On each of these tiles is going to be some resources that you get. When you get the resources, you got to put them in one of these 3 like bins on your player board. And that's going to determine how quickly you get those resources out to be used for other things. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get metal out so you can ship it. You can make investments. You can build in Boomtown. And you're trying to get wood and stone out so you can have that to build in the actual town. Because if you always have to build a building. And if you can't pay to build, you got to do it illegally. And you're going to be starting to get wanted by the police. You still get stuff. You still get the resources. You just can't put a building out. And you have to go to this special little area where the cops are trying to get you. I enjoy this game. It's fairly light. The hardest part, if you're not familiar with Mancala, the way that the resource track kind of works, you pick everything up in one of the buckets and you move it up the board, and you have to drop a piece off every single time, and whatever gets all the way up to the top are the resources that you have available to build. And if you're not familiar with that, that can get a little funky. So keep that in mind if you're going to play this game. But other than that, I enjoy this game. It's a lot of fun. We have a video for it if you want to check it out. We have the 2nd edition. I think they're both basically the same. But yeah, it's an enjoyable game. Fairly light, but I liked it. So how do you feel about Gold West?
I won, but I didn't like it. It made me mad, like a lot. This seems to be a theme. I got angry. It's really frustrating. I mean, once you get the hang of it, I think it goes a lot better. At first, I was like, what the heck is happening here? I can't do anything. And you really will take a lot of like bummer turns at the beginning, especially if you decide that you're not going to like rob stuff or whatever they call it.
Loot,
sure. Because I did not loot the whole time. Everyone else did, but I did not. Because I'm better. No. Because I just was like, I'm not going to do that because I feel like there's not a ton of points happening. And I've just decided I can't risk losing that.
Well, it clearly worked for you.
It did, but I didn't win like handily, I don't think.
No, it was close.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
And then as we went on, I got the hang of it. I'm like, okay, this can work a little bit better. I do like the way that there are multiple paths to victory. I felt like you could go about it in a couple different ways based on what kind of resources you were getting and where you place them, and you can get points in all those different ways. If you can get money off cards or large groups or trading in items. So that I did like about it. And I do like we got it from Richard because he's awesome. So I think I would play it again, but it's not one that I'd be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to choose this game.
Yeah, I feel the same as you on the second part. I like it more than you, but it's not one that I would play Fool's Gold over this probably, or Quartz for a mining game or something like that. There's other mining games I think that we have that I dig a little more, but if someone wanted to play it, I would happily play it. All right, so the last game we're going to talk about is a game that I've been playing a bunch on the app. Not this specific version, but a similar one. And this one's called Silver Coin. And this is a little card game from Bezier where effectively all your cards are face down. You have 5. At the beginning of the game, you get a look at 2 to find the numbers. And the numbers range from 0 to 13. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the lowest values of cards in front of you by the end of the game, because you want to have the lowest score over the course of 4 rounds. And the way you're going to do that is on your turn, you're going to either draw a card from the top of the deck, use the power on the card, which may let you flip over some cards, swap some cards with people, a whole bunch of things. Or you can take that card from the top of the deck and replace it with your cards that are face down in front of you or face up. And you can replace as many cards as you have in front of you that are the same number. So if I had 3 13s, and I had a 2 that I drew, I could discard all of my 13s and take that 2. I've gotten rid of 3 cards. I've gotten rid of 39 points. And now I have 2. So that's one thing you can do. Or you can take a card from the discard pile and replace it with a card that you have, trying to lower your value there. Once you get below 4 cards and you think you have the lowest value, you can knock. That's the gin term, but I forget what they call it. Call. And call everyone else gets a turn. Yeah, call to vote. And if everyone else gets a turn, and if they have less points than you, you get your score plus 10. If you have less points, you don't get anything, and you get the coin. And if you have the coin, the next round you're able to flip over any card that you want at any time, 1 time. And you're going to do all of that stuff that I just said 4 times. Whoever has the least amount of points after all that is said and done is the winner. So I really like this game. It's a simple little card game. It seems like it has memory in it, but it really doesn't. Once you've looked at a card, you can keep looking at it over and over and over. It's just they're face down to make it a little bit trickier that you can't just see all 5 of the cards that you have right away. I've played regular version, which is Amulet, and I've played Coin. They're both similar. They just have different cards of different powers, but they play the same way. And it's a cool little series, and I dig it. So how do you feel about Silver Coin?
I actually really like this. I think this is my favorite of all the ones we played because I do love a card game where, well, I love any game where the turns are simple, but full of tough choices. And this is definitely one of those. I like the artwork. I like that little puzzle. I like the do I stay or do I go kind of feel to some of your choices. So yeah, this really pleased me on many levels. I liked it.
Yeah, I'd like to get a few more sets just to have more of the cards.
Yeah,
because the cards are all drastically different, and they all do different really cool things, and they all fit in the same box. So you know how I feel about that. But yeah, this is a really fun game, and I'm glad that we played it in real life, and I didn't have to just keep doing the app. All right, so those are the games that we played. Let's keep trucking.
All right. In our countdown of the top 100 games of all time, we are up to number 70. So we're going to do 70 down to 61. And again, seriously good games on this list as always. Some that have kind of moved up a little bit, at least for me. And I think we have at least 2 crossovers on this list.
Well, that's crazy. I only noticed one, but I haven't looked for a minute. So
I just caught a second one while I was looking. So
yeah, cool.
Right. So Jason's going to start with his number 70.
All right. So my number 70 is a game that we played not that long ago with Katie's cousin and her husband, and it is called Thebes. This is a game, basically an archaeology game where you're moving around this map, trying to learn knowledge, which basically means getting cards of certain colors. And everything you do spends time. So you're around the outside of the board is like a time tracker. So if I wanted to move from one city to another, it could be 3 time. Whoever's farthest back in, or has the most amount of time gets to go first. So you take a big turn with a bunch of time, you're going to be waiting for a while. And eventually you're going to get to these different locations. You're going to spend time to dig into this bag based on your knowledge, spend time times knowledge, and you get to pull out some chips trying to get cool artifacts. Then they'll be worth points. You can put them on display in the museum, all that kind of thing. And you're going to do that over the course of 3 rounds, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. And whoever has most points after all that is said and done is a winner. There's a little bit more to it, but that's the gist. Fantastic game. Fun push your luck. Push your luck that you can mitigate because you can spend time to make it a little bit better. But yeah, I really like this one. And it's one that I will gladly play whenever. So my number 70, Thebes.
Yeah, Thebes, I'm a big fan. I feel like I already talked about this.
You might have. I don't remember.
I don't either. Well, I do my list. Oh, that's what I meant to do. I meant to look it up while you were talking about it, and I was like, oh, yeah, Thebes. This is the one, I forget who, maybe it was you, that always says that Thebes is like Indiana Jones, like what his life is in some ways.
It feels like Indiana Jones, like he goes and digs and he gets dirt. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's accurate.
I have not talked about Thebes yet, but I
nice.
will. But my number 70 is a game that has fallen for me, mostly because it's just so complicated, even though I know it is a good game, and that is Lisboa. So we all know, big fans of Uncle Vital, but Uncle Vital's games are often hard to get to the table. This one, I had a bad experience. I gave it other tries. I like it better than my first bad experience.
But during your bad experience, Uncle Vital was watching on live, and that was cool.
I know, which makes it makes it a very bittersweet experience. But yes, he was, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is how I die. But since then, I have played it without Uncle Vital's observance, and I feel like I've done much better because I sort of understand the game, sort of. And I only say sort of because I really don't. And actually, I think there are several games on this list that are in this section today, or in this episode, because I really like them. I just think I might be too dumb to play them, or it's going to take me, like, if I went to a deserted island, I would take some of these games because I would have all the time in the world to keep playing them and get better at them. And Lisboa is one of them. So, like many Vital games, lots of things going on. You're supposedly rebuilding Lisboa after this fire, but none of that really seems to make sense to me in how you're playing the game.
Fire, earthquake, and flood.
Sure. None of that seems to really matter in the game, even though I wish the theme made more sense. But you're like putting things in this one section and then doing these other, there's just, and some boats happen. Nothing to me seems to make sense on how it's connected. So I think that's why this one is really hard for me. Whereas the Gallerist and Vinos make a little more sense as far as the flow of what's happening. Like the artwork is cool, and I think it seems like it could be really good, and it would be higher if I actually understood it. So for now, Lisboa is holding it my number 70.
I don't disagree with any of those things you said. The Gallerist and Vinos are definitely easier than this one.
Yeah.
100%. And thematically, they make more sense with the way you play. I do agree with that. All right, my number 69 is not a Vital game, and it's a lot simpler. And it is called Creature Comforts. This is from Kids Table Board Games, and this is a worker placement game. But the interesting thing about this is everyone has 2 dice, and you're going to be placing workers based on the 2 dice that you roll. Then we're going to roll 4 other dice that you're going to kind of hope that you may get some numbers that you need from those dice, because everybody gets to share those dice. So while I may go to a space in these 3 6s, I may only have 2. I'm hoping that a 6 gets rolled on those white dice. So you're doing a little bit of a speculation apart when you're doing some worker placement, and you're just trying to get resources so you can build these cute little things that the creatures are doing for get ready for winter time or something. I don't know, but it looks cute. It's really fun. Our daughter can play it too, which is nice. But yeah, it's a kid table board game. They're usually pretty good, so this one's no exception. My number 69, creature comforts.
Yes, I do like that. Once again, I thought, I wonder where that is on my list. I make the list and then I'm like, we'll just see what happens. I will talk about that one very soon. Not soon enough as in this episode, but soon. My number 69 is a game that I like because I like to play it a certain way and then other people get mad and it's fun for me. And that game is Deep Blue. This is a Days of Wonder game, I want to say.
That is correct.
Hallelujah. So in this game, you're sort of, I would say, manning a crew that's going on boats that are going to do diving. So there is some moving around to different locations with your boats and flipping over tiles and like discovering areas. But the real issue is when you go on a dive and then you've got this almost like you have this like deck building element to it where you're getting these, I guess, different crew members that are going to give you scoring and things for certain types of items that you're pulling out of a bag, and the bag is representing what you are finding as far as treasure in your dives. Now, what I like to play is I go real heavy in the crew members. I'm like, yeah, let's get these awesome crew members. I'm recruiting them. But I'm recruiting them and not going on dives because I'll just stay close enough to people so I can jump in on their dives, because you can just like join someone else's dive. And it's actually a really effective way to play. You don't...
Yeah, considering you win like that every single time.
But you don't get like the prime rewards like you would if you initiated the dive, unless you have enough crew members that are there to help you out. So
that's correct. You have to play a lot more cards.
That is the trade-off. But again, I love multiple paths, the victory game. I think I like the colors on this. I like the artwork on the crew cards. They look really fun. Drawing stuff out of a bag, pushing your luck, always a good time. And I think that this is not a too often used theme. So, yeah, I really like it. My number 69 is Deep Blue.
Yeah, this one's okay.
I think you like it more than me.
Yeah, I think I do. My number 68 is a game from Game Brewer, RIP Game Brewer. And it is called Paris. And this is a game I think it's from Kramer and Kiesling. That sounds correct. And basically this is a big rondel. I think Katie talked about this already. I'm not 100% sure. The game is a big rondel, and you are trying to, basically, you're going to be getting tiles. You're going to be building up these different sections of Paris around the Arc de Triomphe. I don't know how to say it.
Arc de Triomphe, and I did talk about this. It was my number 97.
Right. So there's all these districts, and you're trying to build them up with these cities. And then you're using these keys, which are kind of workers that you're going to be putting on these buildings to like get the goods that they produce. But you got to have a certain other criteria, and you're ultimately trying to have the most influence in each of these areas. If I put a key on a building 3, I have 3 influence in that area, and you're trying to keep moving up until you can get to like this landmark thing that's worth a whole bunch of pile of stuff and a bunch of points. But as the game goes on, it gets a lot more thinky. There's a whole bunch of places to go, not a lot of stuff to do, which is interesting. And it starts to bog down at the end. So the beginning is awesome. You can do whatever you want. The ending, a little trickier. But we have the expansion 2 we haven't tried out yet, which adds a little bit, like one little module thing. But this is a really fun game. I like it, but some people get overwhelmed playing it, so we don't really play it that much, which is okay. We have a lot of other games, so there we go. So my number 68 is Paris.
Yes, it's good. It's a good game. My number 68 is a cooperative game, and the last time I played this, it was so good, and I've had so many really great experiences with this game. And it's by a friend of the show, PDB, and that is Black Orchestra. Black Orchestra I think you talked about this one already, if I remember correctly.
I can look while you're talking.
So in Black Orchestra, you are playing members that are working together in this plot to assassinate Hitler. And you're doing this by having action points. Each person has and also a special ability. You are moving around to different areas. You're trying to collect plots and then the items that you need to execute those plots and get in the same place where Hitler is in order to be able to make it happen. All the while, terrible events are happening. Hitler's raising his military power. You are losing stuff. The Gestapo's after you. Your compatriots might get thrown in jail. You might get thrown in jail. You might have to make some really tough choices. It is tense and fun, and full of history if you actually like history, because it is really historical, very based around Dietrich Bonhoeffer's life. Just such a really good game. So 69 or 68. Black Orchestra.
Yeah, it was my 85. And there's an expansion that's going to be released soon. Just saw it today at the time of this recording.
I know, that's so pumped.
Yeah.
I was so excited about that.
I didn't realize it was a thing. So when I saw it, I was super excited. I thought it was just going to be more people, but it's actually like more gameplay stuff, which is cool. All right, so my number 67, I'm not going to belabor the point. It's Yedo. We already talked about it. I like it for everything that I said earlier. So there we go. Save some time on this one. Number 67, Yedo.
Okay. I think last episode, either we talked about this in news or you had it on your list. And my number 67 is Colosseum. I think
Yeah, what did we talk about this for? We talked about it about something. I don't remember.
I think it's on your list, maybe. So in Colosseum is it's basically like a set collection-y, it's contract fulfillment, I guess I would say, and resource management, where you are actually in auctions gaining these different types of set pieces and props to put on big plays or small plays, really, in your Colosseum, while also trying to recruit like officials to come see it, getting bigger and better productions happening to gain more points. There's also, not only can you draft tiles, but you can also go through like a trading phase. So there is a significant like interactive piece to it. I just think it's really fun. And you're kind of doing your own thing. Like, yes, there's trading, but it's not like you can't really super mess up other people's stuff, really. So it's a lot of working on your points on your own and kind of going your own way. And you all know I love that. It's old and busted. It's kind of ugly, but it is a really fun game to play. So 67 Colosseum.
We actually have a newer one than the older one. The older one looks way better than the one we have. Ours is weird. It's the TMG one. It's weird. And I have not talked about this yet.
Oh.
So I don't know what we were talking about.
Must have been news or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All right. So that was what? Your 67? My number 66 is basically like Yedo, but it's Lords of Waterdeep. And I think you talked about this already, I believe. This is a worker placement game set in the D&D universe, basically, barely. It has some characters and some owlbears and stuff. And it's a worker placement game. Go to a spot, do some things. What you're trying to do is you're trying to collect these different color cubes, which represent some kind of character from D&D. Who cares? They're colored cubes. You're turning in the colored cubes, and you're trying to fulfill contracts to score points. You're trying to get as many points as you can. We have the expansion, which adds some corruption, which makes you lose points, but gives you awesome spaces to go to, which I love. This is a really fun game. It plays up to 6 players too, which was one of the first worker placements we had that played that many people. I wouldn't recommend it because it is really long, but if you want to, you can. So my number 66, Lords of Waterdeep.
I talked about this last week. So it is good. My number 66 is, again, another of those games that I think it's up this high because I could spend my lifetime trying to figure it out and maybe start to do better. And that is Clinic. Every time I play this, I'm like, yeah, this is good, but holy crap, this is so hard. There's like a a butt ton of expansions to this, and why? Why?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Because just the regular basic game is so hard. It's just so much to manage, and you feel like you're never managing it right, and you're trying to get all this stuff together, and you're trying to make this patients move efficiently in your clinic. I didn't explain the game, but you are managing a clinic, and you've got to have parking spots, and you've got to get your patients places, and you have to have rooms and doctors and ways to move them around and
parking lots. Come on.
I said spaces to park.
I know. I'm just irritated that you have to build stupid parking lots too.
Yeah, but it's I love that problem solving puzzly thing to it, and I like the theme. Yeah, I'd like to play it again. I always want to play it again, but it is so heavy that you can't just like pull that out with anyone. Jason and I played it together. It does take a while, so at 2 it's not as bad. But yeah, this one is really good. So my number 66 is Clinic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Album Viard, the designer of this game, hates people because all of his games are like just beasts that
Yeah.
it's just nasty. They're so hard to learn, but once you get them, they're really fun. And this game is a good one. But yeah, I don't want to teach it to anybody. So now that you know how to play it, we can kind of fumble to it again together because the teach sucks. So my number 65. You keep doing these heavy ones, and then I get like these little like lighter ones. My number 65 is another game from Kids Table Board Games, and it is called Wreck Raiders. I'm pretty sure this is the highest one on my list. No, yep, the highest one on my list. And this game is so good. I love it. It's basically a set collection game. You have these little divers. You're going to spaces and these like wrecked like boat wreckages, and you're trying to. When you're next to somebody in these locations, everybody's going to get a tile. There's like 4 different colors. I go there. If I'm next to myself, I'll get a couple tiles. If I'm next to other people, they'll get a tile. And on the back of these tiles are different types of items. I think there's 3 or 4 in each of the colors. And you're trying to either put them on display in your own little display area, or you're trying to sell them as like an exhibit to get points, all that kind of thing. That's what you're doing. It's a die drafting game. A little bit more to it, but that's the gist. I really like it. We have like 5 expansions that we picked up at Gen Con or Origins or something. We haven't played any of them, so that's just more fun for this game that I can't wait to try. So my number 65, Wreck Raiders.
Yeah, I talked about that last episode, and it's good. My number 65 is all-encompassing Clank. I really love a deck building mechanic. Clank, I like the original version. There's some versions I don't like, but like the Acquisitions Incorporated Legacy version, I really like. So I think it balances out to a good average. This is like a dungeon crawl, sort of, deck builder. It's that kind of theme. Well, for the most part. There's also space and mummies and monkeys and I don't know,
Spiders. I think there's a spider too.
Yeah. Which I think a lot of those like little small expansions are really cool. The most recent one with the like variable, what is that one called? Catacombs. I kept saying like, I'm thinking like crypt, dungeon. What the frick is that? Yeah. Catacombs. I was like tombs. What is it? Catacombs. I don't love, just because so much is left up to chance. But just the original, and of course Acquisitions Incorporated, so very good. A really fun deck builder, really easy way to get even non-gamers to play. Like again, it's not a super difficult turn, but a lot of times really deciding how you're going to go, when to get out, what you're headed towards, especially with the legacy game, like how you're going to kind of play that with the like storied events and stuff. I think it just makes it so fun. So my number 65 is Clank.
Yeah, this is a fun game. I like all the versions except for Catacombs. I don't love that one, but I like the ones that you don't necessarily like too.
That's true.
My number 64 is a Feld game. These used to be much higher, but I don't know. I haven't played it, and looking back on some of the plays, it's kind of mechanism first, even for a Feld game. and some of the pieces don't really feel as cohesive as others. But this game is Trajan. Still a fantastic game. It's got the Coolman column mechanic where you're going to pick stuff up out of a bowl, drop it in another bowl, whatever bowl you land on. That's the action you get to take. Bunch of different actions of moving dudes across the map, trying to get some bonus tokens, putting dudes in this other area to try to get bonus tokens, putting dudes in this other area to get bonus tokens, and then also moving up on a track to wait for it, get bonus tokens. It's a lot of the same thing that you're doing, but you're doing them in different ways with different actions. I still like the game. I know it sounds like I'm poo-pooing on it. I'm not, but I don't know. We haven't played it a ton. That's part of it. And I just would rather play other Felds, I think, than this one. So my number 64, Trajan.
I actually do I like this one a lot last time I played it. But there probably are other ones I would rather play. My number 64 may have been discussed already twice. And that's Yedo. After having played it this last time, it will be lower next time because I thought, and I don't know, maybe it's just because just so much stuff did not line up for me and I was really angry and I wanted it to work better and it didn't at all. So maybe we'll see, maybe we'll have a few evening out games between now and then, but I think the theme is so cool. I think there's a lot of really neat things happening in this game. But yeah, we talked about it already. So 64, Yedo.
My number 63 is a game that I know Katie doesn't like, and that's okay. Everybody can't like every game. But this game is called First Rat, and this is from, I believe, the Italians. Some of the Italians, I don't know. And what you're doing is you're basically these rats. You're living in a junkyard, and you're trying to move through the junkyard in this really interesting way where you can move a certain number of spaces with one rat, or you can move both rats a certain number of spaces if they land on the same color space. All the spaces are different colors. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to these different locations. You can buy book bags that'll help you carry things. You can get comic book pages, which give you special powers. And you're ultimately trying to build your rocket ship out of junk to make it to the moon because you think the moon's made of cheese and you want infinite cheese. The way that the game works is cool to me. It is just basically kind of a race moving up some tracks. There's lots of tracks that you're moving up, and I dig it. Most people that I played it with haven't liked it, but I like it, so I guess I'll just be playing this by myself. So that is my 63 First Rat.
Yeah, that game sucks. My number 63.
It doesn't suck.
It does. My number 63 is a game that sucks at two people, but every other player count, awesome. And that's Gugong. I was so pumped about this game when it was on Kickstarter. And I was like, yeah, this looks so good. So good. We backed it and we played it with each other. And I was like, this game blows. How could I be so wrong? And then we played it with 3 people. And I'm like, this game's awesome. And 4 people. I'm like, this game is awesome. So in Gugong, you are like, I don't know what you're doing to get points. I don't know what the theme is. But to me, it plays like almost like mini games, but there's just all these different sections of board that you're working in. You have to ascend the steps in order to be able to and have an audience with the emperor in order to even have a chance to win. You're also building on the Great Wall. You're riding throughout the province. You are, I don't know, some pottery or something, getting some collectibles, and there's boats. But in order to go to all these different places and collect the items or move along the tracks, you have to play a card that is the same or higher.
It has to be higher, or the one has a special rule.
Yeah.
If it's the same, you have to spend like some dudes to do it or something like that.
But so you're and then you're kind of changing cards out. So making the most of the card you have in your hand to get the things that you want, or even going to a place just to get the card, even if you don't want that particular item, I think is a really cool mechanic. The components are awesome. The artwork is gorgeous. Just don't play it too. So my number 63 is Gugong.
My number 62, Katie has already talked about. I like it a little bit better than her. Push your luck in the ocean, and it's called Deep Blue. Everything Katie said about it, I agree. I like to actually, take the turn and go on dives and start up the dives on my own because, that's how the game goes. But some of us like to mooch off others. That's fine.
And win.
But yeah, this this is a really fun game. I know not a lot of people, not in our group, but a lot of people don't really like this game, and I don't know why. It's a fun little push your luck game. It might be a little long, but I have fun pulling stuff out of the bag no matter what, so there we go. So if you like push your luck, looks fantastic, great production, and just a ton of fun. And I'm not going to belabor it because Katie already talked about it. So my number 62, Deep Blue.
My number 62 is a game that initially I didn't really like because I thought it was too easy. But the more we play it, the more I like it, and we have many expansions for it now because Jason really decided he liked it, and that's Everdell. And I'll group all the expansions in with this because I haven't played them enough to be like, oh yeah, this one's way better than this one. I don't know. We have the one where they ride on the other animals, and these like big meeple animals, and I think that's adorable. I don't know. There's lots of different things, but I really, really do enjoy this game. It's a tableau building game where you are building a little town of woodland creatures, and I think you're trying to get the most points out of them. So knowing what to place in your town and when, making the most of the actions when you do worker placement to get some of those woodland creatures and the homes, businesses, things that they work and live in, having the synergy with the cards, I think is so great. And the artwork it's just adorable. It's just so adorable. I think we might have an expansion we haven't even played yet.
Yeah, we have two. We have everything. I don't know if we have Pearlbrook. I don't think we have that, but we have a couple other ones. Yeah,
I thought we got Pearlbrook. Maybe not.
Maybe we do. I don't know.
I think
I haven't looked at the box for a while.
Played that one. I bought you the one for your birthday that everyone said was the best, and I don't know what it's called, but it was fun.
That's the one where they ride the animals. That's Belfair or
yeah,
Belfast.
Belfair's right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Gosh, I'm glad we do a podcast about board games.
Yeah, we do have Pearlbrook. I can see the box, so
that's what I thought. I thought I bought that one,
but we haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, and I would probably have all the expansions. They're just so expensive.
They really are. It's insane.
Which seems nutty, but I mean, it is a good game. But yeah, I'd be willing to try more if they weren't so expensive. But still, my number 62, Everdell.
All right, my number 61, and the last one I'm going to talk about today is a game. I think we played it once or twice, and it is a beast. This makes Vital games look like kids' games. And it's called Trismegistus, the Ultimate Formula. And this game it's just a dice drafting game. But when you draft a die, it's going to open up all these other things you can do. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get different, like, substances. I don't know what they're called, but you're trying to get, like, mercury and stuff like that. And you're ultimately trying to turn it into gold. And the way you're doing that is by taking these dice, you're moving these different tokens up these tracks, and you're converting it from mercury into silver, and then from silver into something else, and then ultimately you can get it up to gold. But you're also trying to spend these different resources to get these, like, experiment cards that you have, because you're trying to score experiments to unlock these, like, scientist guys that are on your player board. They're going to give you a pile of abilities that are going to fire off this whole new tableau that just shows up out of nowhere. It's got a ton of stuff going on. I don't even remember half of it because it's been a long time since we've played, but it's a beast, and I always remember it fondly when I'm ranking it, which is why it always hangs out in about this area. So my number 61, Trismegistus.
Yeah, this time when I did the ranking, I remembered it less fondly, so I don't even know if I ranked it because I was like, I haven't played this in forever, and so much of it is not coming back to me, so it was out.
Yeah, I need to start doing that more.
A play or two might fix that for me, but we have not done that. My number 61 is, I don't want to say a lighter game because I really don't think it is. It's just a good game, obviously. My number 61, and this is from Kids Table Board Games, and it's so good. And that's called Power Plants. So Power Plants, you got plants. I know, shocker, right? But the thing is, you got these plants, and they're these nice chunky tiles that you're putting out, and you're arranging them. You're kind of building the play area as you go by placing these different types of plants out. And then the plants themselves, I believe, have kind of special powers or ways they behave that can get activated with like little pixies, sprites, some fairies.
I'm not sure what they are. I think they're fairies.
Yeah. Anyway, these little pieces that you have in your color. And so like they behave in different ways and each one is different, which I think makes the game change every time, and learning how to use them to your advantage to get some fairies out there, which can give you points, and have groups and control over different areas based on that can give you points. The production value is freaking stunning on this. Just a really thick, I'm going to say they're wood tiles, and shaped like plants in interesting fashions and bright colors. And it's like a fun, puzzly, brain burny, again, deceptively simple way to play, but really difficult choices. The more I play this one, the more I really like it. So my number 61 is Power Plants.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm sure it's on my list somewhere.
Somewhere.
All right, so I can recap. We'll start up at the top because that makes sense.
It does.
My number 70 is Thebes. 69 is Creature Comforts. 68 is Paris. 67 is Yedo. 66 Lords of Waterdeep. 65 Wreck Raiders. 64 Trajan. 63 First Rat. 62 Deep Blue. And 61 Trismegistus.
My number 70. Do we start at 70?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, 70, yeah.
My number 70 is Lisboa. My number 69 is Deep Blue. Number 68, Black Orchestra. 67, Colosseum. 66, Clinic. 65, Clank, all of them. 64, Yedo. 63, Gugong. 62, Everdell. And 61, Power Plants. So that is our next 10 in the top 100. If you're playing along at home, please tell us what your set of games is for 70 to 61 on any of our socials. If you haven't ranked some games, I'd love to hear about them. I'd love to give it a try. We use the Pub Meeple ranking engine, but I'm sure there are other ways to do that. Or if you haven't played as many games, a top 50, a top 20, top 25, that'd be awesome, because we are rapidly approaching the top 50 games for us of all time. I don't know if any of these have surprised you at all. I hope we called out some new ones, maybe that you want to give a try, or some you're like, oh, I totally disagree with you. Absolutely. Bring it. I'd love to start a social media war. I wouldn't. But.
Yeah, there are some people who are posting some of their games, and I haven't even heard of some of them. I got to admit, I know a lot of games, but it's still amazing how many people like games that are not even on my radar, which is awesome. I mean, I'm glad there's so many games that people can play and enjoy, that we can always find new things that we like. So that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, and it's so good to hear about new games. Like for me, this is a way, if you say you have a game in your top 100, I'm like, oh, I should give that a try if I haven't played it before. I also love when people comment and say, oh yeah, I've played that. I've played a couple games, or oh, you called out some of my favorites and it's this, and this, or, oh, you liked this game. Have you ever tried blah, blah, blah? That's similar. To me, that's my favorite part of this podcast, of the countdown, is finding new games, interacting, about games, just really, and again, keeping the hobby alive, not through FOMO, not through the hotness all the time, but through games that have endured in collections that still come up and get played and are worth the test of time, are not overly expensive, are accessible to all kinds of people. Like, that's what I really love about the gaming and about the top 100. So
yeah, I agree. And I've been trying to do better about playing games that are on our shelves, so we can remind people that just because a game is older than a year does not mean it's bad. So there we go.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I've been Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.